Coming up on The Sporting Chef.
On today's show, I'm going to feature foods that are farmed, raised, and harvested right here in the USA. Also, Susie, Tasia, Melissa, Dan, and Buddy are all doing what they do best. And there's beer right here on The Sporting Chef.
What do you get when you find the best fish and game chefs, cookbook authors, award winners, fishmongers, outdoor experts, and put them on the fastest half hour on outdoor television? Hosted by one of America's best-known wild game chefs, Scott Lacey, The Sporting Chef. Brought to you by Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
Welcome to The Sporting Chef. I'm Scott Lacey, the Sporting Chef, which really doesn't mean all that much. Today I'm doing foods that are made in the USA. Going to be featured today a spiny lobster with a tomato-basil butter. These spiny lobsters and the shrimp I'm going to cook came from Catalina Offshore Products in San Diego. CatalinaOP.com is their website. They came in live, and so whenever you get a live lobster, you want to cook it right away because you don't want to cook a dead lobster. I've got the spiny lobster with a tomato-basil butter. I'm going to do a spicy shrimp. These are not farmed shrimp from a septic tank in Southeast Asia somewhere. I want you to support American shrimpers. Make sure you check the label. If your shrimp says Taiwan, Vietnam, keep in mind that there are very few controls there, not like we have in the US. And of course, don't we want to support people with products that are made right here in the USA? Now, what's more American than bison? Bison is the official national mammal. You might not have known that we had an official national mammal, but it's bison. This is bison flank. But before I get started, I want you to check out Susie Jimenez. Today she comes to us via Aspen Snowmass, Sotheby's International. They provide a lot of the great locations for Susie to shoot. Here's Susie now.
Nothing beats an amazing empanada, right? So I'm gonna show you guys how to grab some ground elk, how to stuff it in puff pastry, and how to make this amazing puffiness of fluff. So you grab your puff pastry and you're gonna roll it out just a little bit so it doesn't puff up so much. Then what you need to do is get egg, and you're gonna baste the whole thing with it. What's gonna happen, this is gonna allow it to seal. So you wanna get the surrounding edges here. There we go. And then your elk. All I did with this was season it with salt and pepper and a touch of soy sauce, not too much, because you really want to taste the elk in this. We're gonna make this, and then we're going to roll it right over like this. And then all you need to do is make sure the whole thing is coated with egg yolk to brown it. So once you baste the whole thing with your egg wash, you're gonna pop it right in your Camp Chef pizza oven. You're gonna take about 10 minutes, 15 at the most. It's gonna puff up, get golden brown, it's gonna be ready to eat. So guys, you can tell this thing is such an awesome oven. Look how golden brown this puff pastry is. This empanada is like perfection. My mom would be so proud, right? And all you need to do at this point is add an amazing sauce on top, chimichurri, jalapeno tomatillo, anything you want. So remember, you can grind up any of your wild game needs, whether it's turkey, elk, whitetail, antelope, anything goes into this sucker, you're gonna love it. I'll see you guys next time for more Spice It Up tips with Susie Jimenez. I'm gonna eat this whole thing. Ow.
And if you don't love Susie Jimenez, you're no friend of mine. Let me get started on the shrimp. This is gonna be spicy shrimp with Asian slaw. By the way, if you find shrimp that are ever kind of slippery, if you just put a little lemon juice on your hands or a little lemon juice on the shrimp, it'll keep them from being so slippery and sliding through your hands. I got my work sharpener. Please start with a sharp knife. For people that are intimidated by knife sharpeners, this is absolutely the least intimidating knife sharpener on the planet. It's around 50 bucks. You'll use it all the time. It's very handy, it's portable. After you run it through the sharpener, you can take the burred out edges here with a little honing ceramic part here. And I'm telling you, 99% of the time, this little $50 unit is all you need. First, peel shrimp. So what some people will do is they'll peel a shrimp, and you can leave this last section on or not, and then they'll put the shrimp down, and then they'll go to devein it, thusly. And by the way, that's not a vein. This is how the little shrimps go to the bathroom. And if you ever eat peel and eat shrimp, of course, you know this is usually not removed, and nothing bad will happen. But rather than putting the knife up and down the whole time, what you want to do is do all the peeling part first. So I'm going to peel the shrimp. So now I have all the shrimp lined up. We'll do the knife part. So I'm going to finish cleaning up these shrimp since it's not all that exciting watching me remove waste from a shrimp. When I come back, we've got plenty more here. We're just getting started. Don't forget, support the USA, buy American, shop American, be an American. Welcome back to The Sporting Chef. I'm Scott Laseth. Today, I'm cooking with stuff made right here in the USA. I'm going to make a spicy Asian shrimp, which starts with a little bit of olive oil. I have some lime juice, and when you're using something acidic like lime juice on something like shrimp, you don't want to leave it in there very long because it'll actually turn into ceviche. It'll cook it. I have High Mountain Cajun Cowboy for seasoning. So I've got some rice that's going to go on the bison right here. It says, grown in the USA, right here, grown in the USA. Here's a buddy of mine, Tasia Malakasis, who runs the Belle Chev Creamery in Elkmont, Alabama. It's a cool little town. It's about maybe 45 minutes south of Nashville. Here's Tasia from Belle Chev.
Thanks, Sporting Chef. What I'm going to do for you today is show you a really interesting and innovative way to enliven your cream cheese frosting. So we're going to make a Chev icing instead of a cream cheese frosting. Belle means beautiful and Chev means goat. It's the French word for goat. So if you're in France and you happen to want to buy a goat, that's the word you'll use. It's also a style of goat cheese, a fresh French style goat cheese that is creamy and really, really mild. Not dissimilar from a cream cheese, which is why we're going to make this version of a cream cheese icing using the Chev. And we also like to say that it is sexy, skinny, and smart because you have the health benefits of the goat cheese too. Lower in fat and calories, higher in protein, and higher in calcium, lower in lactose, and good for your digestive system. But this is going to be yummy and not healthy because there is a difference, as you know. So I've got some butter in my bowl. I just added my Chev. I'm going to add some confectioner sugar, a lot of it actually, and a little bit of vanilla, and we're going to whip all this together, and you will love it. Okay, here we go. We're going to make some noise, and probably a little bit of a mess too. Okay, nice and creamy, and of course the best part about making icing is that you get to taste it and lick the mixture. It's delicious. Okay, so what I'm gonna do with this, and you can play with it any way you want, but I'm gonna make some super simple, fun little whoopie pies and lather that in there really thick and top that off. And I look like a hero. Even you, Scott, can look like a hero with this Chev icing and these little cookies. And these are a great little thing to have by the campfire at night. Make your belly warm and your mouth happy.
Tasia is very cool, right? You're going to see a lot more of Tasia on the Sporting Chef show. Now, to go with my spicy shrimp, I'm going to make a little dressing. This is some slaw that I cut up with my Weston slaw board, which is absolutely very, very handy. Into the slaw, I've got some chopped green onions, some dry roasted peanuts, a couple different colored peppers. The dressing is mayonnaise, fresh chopped ginger, a little sugar, which is going to balance this rice vinegar, and lime juice, a little soy sauce. This soy sauce is made right here in the USA. I found this product. This is made in Kentucky. There's also Kentucky soy sauce. They make a Kentucky Yaki. This is made by Bluegrass soy sauce. It says here, handcrafted, Louisville, Kentucky. I had to buy it because it's made right here in the USA. Let me give my dressing a stir. It's a little lumpy, but so am I. Dressing goes onto the slaw, toss thusly. Spicy shrimp's gonna go on that slaw. I've got some bison. I'm gonna get it trimmed up a little bit. So all of this silver skin here has got to go. I'm gonna trim it up, I'm gonna season it. So Bill Smeck, this buddy of mine, sent me this cool tenderizer here that's got the textured side and the flat side. You probably don't have one of these. This is one of a kind, so you can do that, and that'll help tenderize that bison flank. Or you can use one of these gizmos that I've used on the show before, a jacquard, which if you've got tough hindquarter cuts, take this guy, and this cuts through the connective tissue and makes it more tender, but it doesn't really change the texture of the meat. I'm going to season this up, and while I'm doing that, go with me to Gadsden, Alabama, which is south of Elkmont, Alabama, where the Bell Chef Creamery is. Check out the Back 40 Brewery. They got some beer that I really, really like.
My name is Jason Wilson. I'm a fifth-generation Alabamian. As a craftsman, I've always loved to work with my hands and just always had this idea of a craft brewery in the back of my head. And I quit my job in Atlanta and moved back to my hometown to start Back 40 Beer Company. The Brew Trail came about as kind of a collaboration between the Alabama Brewers Guild and the Alabama Mountain Lakes Tourist Association. At some point, Tammy Reese and I with Alabama Mountain Lakes really started to dig in and try to develop a concept about how we could focus on these small artisan producers. Basically, you're able to go and visit all of these breweries on a predefined trail. You get some great discounts and promotional items when you come. When we talk about food and beer, that's a very passionate point here at the brewery. So much of the story of the Deep South is told at the dinner table. We put beer pairing suggestions or food pairing suggestions on every single one of our beer labels. So we always like to give people ideas of how they can cook with beer and food and how they can pair beer with certain foods to accentuate it. And they can go to our website and find hundreds of recipes, many of which are using wild game as a core ingredient that have been designed by some of the best chefs in the Southeast using our beer. For so long in America, we were taught that beer was beer, that there was one style of beer, and you either drank beer or you drank something else. When in fact, there are 86 different unique varieties of beer in the world. I like them all depending on what's on the plate.
Melissa, Dan, and Buddy all have some things they'd like to share with you, and I know for a fact that they all buy USA whenever they can. Stay tuned. Welcome back to The Sporting Chef. I'm Scott Laseth. Today, cooking stuff made right here in the USA. I've got some bison flank that I've tendered up. I'm going to season it, oddly enough, with some High Mountain bison steak seasoning. This is bison flank. I'm going to slap this directly onto the grill. Now remember that lobster I was telling you about, the spiny lobster from Catalina Offshore Products. You want to put it into boiling water while it's still alive, let it cool, break the tail off, split them in half. Thusly, I'm going to season them with some High Mountain salmon rub, and I'm going to baste them with some Tomato-Basil Butter. I've got a hot Camp Chef skillet going over here. Butter, lemon juice, garlic, vermouth, tomatoes, fresh basil. Heat's off. That's done. Let me get my lobsters on the grill. As long as I'm here, I'm going to put the shrimp next to the lobster to go with the Asian slaw. Since the lobster tail is cooked, it's not going to take very long. It's just a little undercooked, but I want to give it that grill flavor. I'm going to flip it in a second, get it with that tomato-basil butter. The shrimp is going to be done as soon as the color is out. As soon as it turns pink, it's done. And I like the bison flank a little bit between medium and medium rare. At medium rare, it's still a little chewy. You cook it a little bit longer and it's not quite so chewy. Next up, Melissa Bachman.
If you live in a state where attractants are legal, one thing you may want to think about is using those attractants paired with your cuttybacks. Now in this situation, I've got a cuttyback on a tree. It's probably about 8-9 feet away from where I'm at. And what I like about this location is deer are already naturally coming through here. I have 2 trails right behind me that intersect, so I've got this only a couple feet off those trails. Now what I'm using today, I've got the Analogics, the Braggin' Rights Acorn Attractant. Now as a hunter, we all know that whitetails, they love acorns. So with this attractant, it's really a grain-based type of attractant, and like all their quality products, it contains Anashield TX4, which is a deer concentrated power pack to promote good health. If you've got strong, healthy deer, you're gonna have bigger deer, which equals more meat, and you're also gonna have bigger racks. So not only will the smell draw them in, but once they eat it, they will keep coming back for more. So not only are you giving them something that's gonna taste good, but it's really good for them too. So I'm gonna put the rest of this here, and then I'm gonna head off hunting, and hopefully I'll get some nice pictures of some big bucks in here.
Welcome back. Cooper's over here seeing if I drop anything. He just licked the butter off my boot, and I've got my bison flank. Again, the lobster tails are cooked. Like your shrimp, if your lobster is tough and rubbery, you know what happened. You cooked it too long. I like to get that char on the outside of these shrimp. Gives them a little bit more character as opposed to just boiled shrimp. Again, I'm cooking on a Camp Chef grill box. It comes on the Pro 90. I've been a big Camp Chef fan for well over 20 some odd years. While I'm doing this, I want you to check out Dan Dovel, who has a great tip if you want to keep some stuff sharp.
So let's talk a little bit about knife geometry, what a knife looks like and why it dulls. So essentially, a knife is the intersection of 2 surfaces. Those intersect at a cutting edge. Now when a knife dulls, really one of 2 things is happening. That knife will get chipped or blunted or worn down, rounded like that, or that knife edge can fold, create a burr folding over to one side like this. So what we want to do when we sharpen a knife is we're going to redefine these 2 surfaces so that they reform an actual cutting edge. To do that, we're going to remove a tiny bit of material from each side of the blade. We're going to form this new cutting edge just below where the old cutting edge was. That's where you'll take a sharpener, either a sharpening stone or a power sharpener or another manual system, and regrind those edges to reproduce this geometry. You'll be able to repeat this process over and over again. This knife will be able to last you a lifetime.
I got a mess to clean up here. These are all going to look really cool at the end of the show. But first, I want you to check out Buddy T. Today he has corned beef tongue. But we're going to take him to a doctor.
Time to talk about some unusual meat again. This is bovine tongue. Yeah, beef tongue to everybody else. And it's real easy to prepare. You can either pressure cook it or you put it in a pot and boil it. And basically, you're just making corned beef out of this tongue. Some pickling spices, a little salt, throw some peppers in there. And the only thing you're gonna need to do is take that skin off of there. People in Louisiana, they make a lunch special with it. It's cooked in a brown gravy and you get rice with it. I like it. I put a little bit of that whole grain mustard on there and a piece of cheese. I'll fry out some of it and make a sandwich out of it too, because I like them tongue sandwiches. Come on down to Texas if you want some tongue. Because man, we got a lot of beef down here that we slaughter, and that tongue is cheap down here.
I'm going to show you how to wash down all this great chow with some of my favorite wine. That's right, U.S.A., Lodi, California, to be exact. Welcome back to The Sporting Chef. It's time for my reward for what I would consider a job well done. Michael David Freak Show cab from Lodi, California. I've got the bison flank over here. My favorite has got to be the Spiny Lobster from Catalina Offshore Products. I've got this Asian spicy shrimp over here. I want you to check out our YouTube channel where we've got all sorts of recipes, videos, how-tos, and of course on myoutdoortv.com. And if you use the promo code SportingChef, you just might get a deal. Great shows from Outdoor Channel, Sportsman Channel. Special thanks today to Susie Jimenez, Tasia Malakasis, Melissa Bachman, Dan Dovel, and as always, Buddy T. Thanks for watching. I'm Scott Laceth, The Sporting Chef, and as always, we really, really appreciate you being here.